What does the phrase "her barred face identity mask" mean in the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes? What are the themes used in the poem The Laburnum Top? What's so significant about the beginning and end of the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes? Welcome to my classroom, where we will study the poem The Laburnum Top by the poet laureate Ted Hughes. Edward James Hughes was a celebrated British poet and writer known for his powerful and vivid verse. He served as the poet laureate of the United Kingdom from 1984 until his death. Hughes' poetry often delved into the complexities of nature, human relationships, and the darker aspects of life. His work was deeply influenced by the natural world and the rural landscapes of Yorkshire, where he grew up. Hughes' poetic style is characterized by its raw imagery and emotional intensity, making him a significant figure in the 20th century. The Laburnum Top is a small excerpt from a much larger poem, The Laburnum. Ted Hughes' poems often employed the poem's first lines as titles, and it remains uncertain whether a poem is untitled or whether the first line constitutes a title. The Laburnum Top is from the collection Howls and Whispers, published in a limited edition in 1998. Now let's read the poem together. The laburnum top is silent, quite still, in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and a machine starts up, of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. It is the engine of her family. She stokes it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. Then with eerie delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty. The laburnum top is silent, quite still, in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. A few leaves yellowing, all its seeds fallen. In these opening lines, the poet sets the scene by describing the laburnum tree in September. The tree is motionless and bathed in the warm afternoon sunlight, creating an atmosphere of stillness and tranquility. The mention of yellowing leaves and fallen seeds indicates that the tree is undergoing seasonal changes, transitioning from summer to autumn. Till the goldfinch comes with a twitching chirrup, a suddenness, a startlement at a branch end. These lines introduce the goldfinch, a small bird. Its arrival is sudden and startling, marked by a distinctive twitching chirrup sound. The poet contrasts the tree's initial calm and the bird's abrupt presence, creating a sense of energy and surprise. Then sleek as a lizard and alert and abrupt, she enters the thickness and a machine starts up, of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings. The goldfinch is further described as sleek, lizard-like in its agility and highly alert. As the goldfinch moves deeper into the tree's branches, it sets off a flurry of activity among other birds in the tree. As the goldfinch moves deeper into the tree, the poet compares this action to a machine starting up, suggesting a sudden burst of activity. The imagery of a machine starting up emphasizes the rapid and synchronized movements of the birds, characterized by chitterings, wing tremors, and trillings. The whole tree trembles and thrills. It is the engine of her family. She stokes it full, then flirts out to a branch end, showing her barred face identity mask. The entire tree comes alive with movement and sound, suggesting that the goldfinch's presence has activated the tree's ecosystem. Inside the tree is a cacophony of sounds, including chittering, that is chirping, the trembling of wings, and trilling, that is singing. The tree is metaphorically described as the engine of the goldfinch family, implying that it provides sustenance and shelter for the birds. The goldfinch feeds its family and then moves to the end of a branch. After feeding, the goldfinch shows its face with distinctive barred markings as if revealing its identity. It also symbolizes the uniqueness and the individuality of each living creature. Then, with eerie, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, she launches away towards the infinite, and the laburnum subsides to empty. In the concluding lines, the goldfinch emits eerie and delicate sounds described as whistle chirrup whisperings and departs or launches away towards the infinite expanse of the sky. This departure symbolizes boundless freedom and transcendence. As the goldfinch leaves, the laburnum tree gradually returns to its state of stillness and emptiness. Also, this departure is a poignant reminder of the impermanence of life and the cyclical nature of nature itself. The laburnum tree, once so alive with activity, subsides to empty, symbolizing the inevitable changes and transitions in the natural world. Let's shift to the analysis of the poem. First, tone. The tone of the poem is contemplative and observational. Hughes presents the natural world and the goldfinch's action with wonder and reverence. There is a feeling of stillness and serenity at the poem's beginning, which transforms into excitement and vibrancy as the goldfinch arrives. Ultimately, the tone shifts to a sense of transience and impermanence as the goldfinch departs, leaving the tree empty. Hughes captures both the beauty and fragility of the moment. Second, type. The laburnum top can be classified as a nature poem. It belongs to the genre of descriptive poetry, where the poet uses vivid imagery and sensory details to paint a picture of a specific scene in nature. However, it also contains symbolism and metaphor, as the goldfinch and the laburnum tree conveys deeper themes. Third, structure. Please remember that the laburnum top is an excerpt, or more precisely the first stanza from a longer poem, The Laburnum. The excerpt consists of a single stanza with 15 lines. It does not follow a specific rhyme scheme or meter, but relies heavily on vivid and sensory language to create an immersive experience for the reader. The poem's structure mirrors the unpredictability and spontaneity of nature, with the lines and stanzas flowing seamlessly. Now, what are the themes used in the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes? First, nature and the cycle of life. The poem explores the natural world and its seasonal changes, notably the transition from summer to autumn. It highlights the beauty and stillness of nature in September and the inevitability of change as the laburnum tree sheds its leaves and seeds. The poem also highlights the life cycle, from the vibrant activity of the goldfinch and the tree in the present moment to the eventual subsiding and emptiness that follows. Second, transience and impermanence. One of the central themes is the fleeting nature of life and moments. The goldfinch's sudden appearance and departure serve as a metaphor for the ephemeral quality of existence. Third, interconnectedness and interdependence. The poem suggests the interdependence of living beings within an ecosystem. The goldfinch is portrayed as the engine of our family, emphasizing the role of individuals within a larger web of life. Next is imagery. Hughes employs vivid imagery throughout the poem to engage the reader's senses. He uses words like yellow September sunlight, sleek as a lizard, and eerie delicate whistle chirrup whisperings to create a rich sensory experience and bring the scene to life. After imagery, there is symbolism. First, the laburnum tree. The laburnum tree symbolizes nature and the life cycle. The poem begins as silent, quite still, in the September sunlight, signaling the end of a season and the calm before change. As the poem progresses, the tree comes to life with the arrival of the goldfinch, only to return to emptiness when the bird departs. This life cycle represents the natural order and the transience of existence, from stillness to vibrancy and back to stillness. Second, goldfinch. The goldfinch is a powerful symbol in the poem. It represents vitality, energy, and the life force within nature. The goldfinch's sudden appearance and the role as the engine of our family underscore its significance as a symbol of life and the driving force behind the ecosystem. However, the goldfinch's departure also symbolizes the impermanence of life and the fleeting nature of moments of vitality. Third, chitterings and tremor of wings. These sounds made by the goldfinch and the other birds in the tree symbolize the vibrancy and activity of the natural world. They also connect the reader to the sensory experience of the scene, highlighting the importance of sensory perception in appreciating the beauty of nature. Fourth, infinite. The word infinite at the end of the poem symbolizes the vastness and eternity of nature. When the goldfinch launches away towards the infinite, it signifies the bird's return to the larger natural world and the continuation of the cycle of life beyond the confines of the tree. Now, very important, what is noticeable about the beginning and ending of the poem, The Laburnum Top? The poem begins with a description of the laburnum tree in the afternoon yellow September sunlight. This beginning sets the scene and establishes the atmosphere of stillness and tranquility. The tree is described as silent, quite still, and it is in a state of repose. This initial stillness and silence contrasts with what follows in the poem, highlighting the abrupt change and the arrival of the goldfinch, which brings a burst of life and activity to the tree. The significance of beginning lies in its portrayal of the calm before the change. It sets the stage for contrast between the initial stillness and the sudden vibrancy that follows when the goldfinch enters the scene. This contrast highlights the theme of transience and the impermanence of moments of vitality and beauty. Now let's study what is noticeable about the end of the poem. The poem concludes with the image of the goldfinch launching away towards the infinite and the laburnum tree subsides to empty. This ending is significant because it brings the reader's focus back to stillness and emptiness, mirroring the poem's beginning. However, there is a crucial difference. The tree is empty and the moment of vibrancy has passed. This ending reinforces the poem's themes of transience and impermanence. It serves as a reminder that moments of life and beauty are fleeting, eventually giving way to emptiness and stillness. The goldfinch's departure symbolizes the inevitable passing of time and the continuation of the natural cycle. To conclude, The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes is a poignant and beautifully crafted nature poem that explores themes of nature's transience, life's fleeting moments, and the interconnectedness of all living beings. Its shifting tone, descriptive imagery, and the symbolism invite readers to contemplate the delicate balance between stillness and activity in the natural world, and reflect on the profound lessons that nature imparts. This brings us to the end of the explanation and analysis of the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes. To learn more about Class 11 Poems Literary Devices and detailed explanations, check out the Class 11 Literary Devices playlist on this channel. and at www.missroclassroom.com. All the links will be in the description box. Like, share, subscribe. Remember to press the notification icon. Bye-bye.